Hi, welcome back to the channel. I'm going to start a new little series within the channel called Land Rover Defender Common Issues, because I guess mine has pretty much all of them, and I want to go through them systematically and rectify them over the next few weeks, months, years. But today we're kicking off with the seats. Now, if you're an original Defender owner, you've probably already replaced the seats, or you're thinking about replacing the seats, because they're all kind of getting on a bit now, and these seats don't last forever. They crack in the sun and they go all floppy and gross, and the foam crumbles. It's to be expected, really. But there are a few options available to us Defender owners. You can go really high-end, kind of chest hair and gold chain, Miami South Beach kind of style, with these racing looking seats for a Defender, but I absolutely hate that. This is an expedition vehicle, and these seats need to be as simple, as practical, as comfortable, and as long lasting as possible. But I need to do something about mine, because as you can see, this foam has completely collapsed, leaving this metal bar of the seat digging into your side as you drive. It's super uncomfortable. Let me explain the direction I've chosen to go. We are really lucky here in the UK that there are hundreds of companies still making products to keep our Defenders on the road. And one of the best, maybe the best, trim and interior component design company is called Exmoor Trim. And full disclaimer, they gave me a 10% discount on this order just to talk about their product, but I went to them because their stuff is so good. So good. The quality is outrageous. So I went for basically the cheapest option in terms of, a retrim kit for the Defender, because like I said before, I want this to be an expedition style vehicle. I don't want fancy leather seats. I want something that's really hard wearing, and then I want to get the canvas covers that go over the top of it. It might seem counterintuitive, but I like the look. I like it to be rustic and slightly retro. Leather is too fancy for someone like me. So I got this retrim kit for the two front seats. So this is denim twill. I'll put a link in the description below so you can check it out. Yeah, this is the seat base. This is the back, the upright. Lovely, isn't it? All the little details, their label in there. And then it comes with new foams, right? Crucially important, brand new molded foams. This is for the base, this is for the back, and headrest. Yeah, that's it. 3 parts to the seat. Again, full disclosure, I've already done one of them. You might have seen it in a sneaky part of one of the shots I did earlier, because I wanted to have a little practice off camera. It's not the easiest thing in the world, but it is doable. If I can do it, genuinely anyone can do it. So let's have a go at reconditioning the driver's seat. The wonderful thing about doing jobs on a Defender is that they're mainly straightforward. Never easy, but straightforward nonetheless. The seat base just pulls out, and the seat frame is held by only 4 size 13 bolts. Once I had the seat in the workshop, I could start with the base. It has 2 folded tabs holding a metal bar in place. So you just open the tabs with a flat screwdriver and loosen the bar. Then you remove the plastic trim clips on either side. I recommend getting some trim tools off of Amazon. It makes the job so much easier. Right. Once that's done, you can remove the locking rubber by just pulling it out. This will release the seat cover. Don't worry about damaging it, you get a new locking rubber with the kit from Exmoor Trim. Now you can slowly work the seat cover out of the channel and remove it altogether. And it's completely safe to say that this seat has definitely seen better days and is way overdue for a refresh. Alright, now this gross foam just comes off the base slowly. It's been on here for like 27 years, but it was glued in. So just slowly peel it off. Slowly, because I don't want to rip it up and breathe in 27-year-old disgusting ass foam dust. Right, out. Ha! Look at that. 20th of June 1996. Now I'm left with a pretty crusty base pan for the seat, which I'm going to sand and clean up and spray black again. But I'm going to put this to one side and we're going to strip the upright of the seat so we can do all the painting at one go. And now for the seat back. I guess some of the ass foam dust got to me. And once these seat frames aren't bolted down to something, the spring in them pulls them all skew and makes them a little tricky to handle. Okay. Right, on this side you've got the lever and the cover. Okay. Ha! No way! There's a £1 coin in there from 1997. No way! £1 in pounds today is like, I don't even know, 2p? 22p? A perfect illustration of how investing in a Land Rover works. 27 years equals a minus 2,000% return. Okay, that's all. Next, you need to flip the chair over and separate the locking bead on the back. Just keep an eye out for the metal rod that may have dropped down and be loose inside the back of the seat. Oh, this dropped down, so keep hold of that. Now it's a case of slowly working the cover off the seat towards the top. When you get about halfway down, there are a couple little things to do. One are these clips. This bar used to sit in there, but it's obviously fallen down over the years. But just push those clips through like that, so you loosen off the back. The other job is to knock the headrest out. I'm going to use just a little extension. And there we go, the headrest should come out. And you can take this skanky old cover off. We'll deal with the headrest in a second. But now let's get a look at this seat. That is something else. Look at this side. It's gone completely. Okay. And there we are left with the frame, which I'm obviously going to tidy up. But not before wrestling with the reclining lever one more time. Okay, well, now that all of the foam and the covers are off of the frame, the seat back and the base, I am going to go into stripping, cleaning and sanding mode, and then into painting mode. So, let's cue the music. After a tidy up and a clean, it's time to get started with painting. And my choice of paint has been fairly consistent during all my videos because the satin finish Rust-Oleum aerosols have been such a pleasure to work with. They give a way better finish than I deserve, considering the effort I put into preparing the surface. You can even paint straight over some mild surface rust. While that was drying, I thought I'd tidy up the seat box a little. The lid under the driver's seat was looking terrible and also needed a couple coats of black paint. No point in putting newly refurbished seats back onto a cruddy old seat box. Hopefully one day I'll be able to afford the Defeater barrier matte system that Exmoor trim make. It's a thick, hard-wearing molded matte for the seat box, footwells and the gearbox tunnel. And if you want to see what it looks like, the channel Boris the Defender did a fantastic video about installing one. I'll link it below. Okay, while that's all drying off, let's have a look at this headrest. Right, plate bent. I'll sort that out in a second.
The headrest cover is stapled in, so you'll need to remove all of them to get the cover off.
Now, I don't know if the Exmoor trim kit is supposed to come with new headrest phones, or if I didn't order them, but this one didn't. So I'm going to be reusing the original headrest foam. So that's the old cover. Gross. Now let me get on to this. It's quite soft metal. I don't want to go mad on it.
But it's definitely in need of a light sand and a couple of coats of black paint.
It's the next morning and everything's dry, ready to be glued up. It's absolutely pouring outside, so apologies if you can hear the rain and the doors creaking. But we've got to put these two together, ready to be sat on for the next 20 years. And I will just put a little disclaimer in here. If you want to actually watch the real version on how to do this, go to the Exmoor Trim YouTube channel, and there is a very detailed, very well put together guide on how to do this. For me, this is just for entertainment purposes, and I've got to do it to my vehicle. So if you want to stay watching, you're welcome. Okay, I've got some spray contact adhesive, and I think the idea is to put glue on this base on here, plus in the channels around the edges, and then along the top, so you can position and glue the foam.
So I followed my own advice and sprayed glue onto every surface I thought would need it. I was really worried that I would only get one shot at lining up the foam and the base, and once they touched together, that would be it for eternity. But even after moving it around and repositioning it several times, it didn't work.
Well, that sucked.
So I added a bit more glue to the seat foam and the base, and this time held it in place a little longer for the glue to go off a bit.
Yeah, definitely go and watch the other video from Exmoor Trim. Even though it's not kind of perfect, you'll see how good the quality of these Exmoor Trim covers are. Even though I've not put the foam on 100% perfect underneath, once it's all recovered, it looks $1,000,000. Like they've somehow managed to account for little margins of error and for everything to still look sharp and tight and in the right place. It's amazing.
For the seat back, you need to apply the glue to the top corners of the frame as well as the side support bars, and finally to the flat panel near the headrest.
And for the foam in here and up.
Then, starting with one corner, you line up the foam and the frame.
Gently, and then I know you turn it onto its side, that bar in there, and then you pull, you lift up a little bit, it's in there, pull, up, then you do that, run down, and then you flap this flap back. And then, because of the foam moulding, there's some sharpy corners, so I'm just going to snip these off. There we go. Done.
Once the new foams were glued to the frames in the correct position and given a bit of time to set, it was time to fit the covers. I started with the seat base again because that's what the Exmoor Trim instructional video suggests.
Next thing, fold your cover back, smooth the center.
You turn the cover inside out and lay it on top of the seat base, facing away from you. Then you line up the cover with the back of the seat foam and make sure it's positioned straight and the cover seams line up with the channels in the foam. You then hold it still and fold half of the cover away from you and apply some adhesive. Line it all up and stick it down, making sure the seams go into the channels again. Then spin it round, fold it over again, and apply glue to about 3/4 of the remaining cover. Don't glue it all the way to the front, then press down firmly. And once the glue's gone off for about 10 minutes, it'll be ready to finish trimming. You spray adhesive onto the foam to help the cover slide over more easily, then you tuck it in and fold it over with your hands, tucking the foam inside the seams of the cover. Once you've managed to wrestle it around and smoothen it out, make sure it's even. You then feed the cover into the channel where the locking rubber will hold it in place. Pinch the foam down a little and line up the new locking rubber over the channel with the cover in place. Then, using a Deadblow Hammer, slowly work it all the way around. It's a bit of a challenge, especially if you haven't positioned the foam correctly like me, but just keep going because it's quite satisfying to get it all done. Now take the 2 threads at the back and cross them over as if you were going to tie your shoes. Spin the base around and tie one end of the thread down tight. Spin it back around and use the other thread to pull on it, and it'll all tighten against itself and pull it all together. Trim the string and tuck it under the foam. Next, get a pick and make a small hole above the thread in the cover so you can knock some new plastic pins in. And lastly, pull the remaining bit of cover over the pins at the back and put the short metal bar back in place and pull it over the tabs. Once you've done all that, you can knock the tabs down and the seat base is done.
Look at that! Isn't that lovely?
Now for the upright part of the seat. You also turn the cover inside out, but not entirely. If you put your hand inside and hold it about 3/4 of the way down and fold it out from there, this makes it easier to put the cover over the top of the seat and still leave access to the part where you fasten the cover to the seat. The old cover had clips, but the retrim kit from Exmoor Trim comes with some heavy-duty ties, which will hold the long metal bar in place at the back. This means the cover won't move around on the seat. I put the ties through the existing holes from the front and temporarily fastened them in, ready to put the metal bar in place and tighten it all down.
Go through there.
Once that's done, you slowly and carefully work the cover over the foam, trying not to pull on the foam as it might rip it. You work the cover down and try to get it as even as possible. Once the cover is on, you have to flip the chair over and close the locking bead at the back. And this takes a bit of patience and may result in a few hand cramps. Well, it certainly did for me. But you do a little at a time, and once you get the one end locked, you just keep going inch by inch. And this pulls the whole seat tight and gives it its final shape.
Yes, 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 yes. Yes!
Now for the headrest, you'll need to do a little modification and also need a stapler. I got a cheap electric one off of Amazon, linked below. Line the cover up on the headrest so the thick part faces the front, and then place the cover over the top, making sure the seams line up in a straight line. Tack one side in place, then pull and fold the cover and snip the cover around the headrest bar and tuck it in before stapling it down. Put a few staples in place to hold it down, and then by using the metal retaining plate, you screw it down into place, nice and tight. And that's it.
Boom! Headrest.
The seat goes back in the same way it came out, but just remember those little spaces that go under the seat frame. And as I was installing the seat, some really dark clouds rolled in and the rain started to pour.
Stupid rain! Ruining my video. Look at that! Welcome to England, I guess. God, this weather's terrible.
So I had to wait for a gap in the weather before I could film the final scenes. But the rain actually did me a favor by allowing me to demonstrate how durable and easy to wipe down these seat covers actually are. Exmoor Trim really knew what they were doing when they designed these covers.
Oh my gosh, this is good. This is so good. Oh my word, this is the nicest thing in my Land Rover by far. It's so comfortable. You know, that's one of the things, these Defenders are not the most comfortable vehicles, so anything that you can do to improve the comfort levels is it's just so noticeable. And I tell you, these Exmoor Trim covers have really completely transformed these front seats. God, that is so good. These are definitely my favorite upgrades so far. They look incredible. And for the first time since I've owned this Defender, the front seat is comfortable. I'm so pleased, and this is one of the known issues for the Defender, the front seats. So if you've watched this video and it's been helpful, I'm very glad I could help you. If it's purely for entertainment, well, great, you made it this far in the video, so thanks again for watching. I'll see you in the next video. Again, Defender common issue, probably the headlining because I've already started it. So yeah, thank you for watching, and I'll see you soon.